Hey there! Ready to dive into some fascinating ideas?
I'm ready when you are.
We're about to unpack some thought-provoking journal entries
Oh, cool.
that really get into it. The evolution of stories, the power of language,
Okay.
and even touch on the nature of intelligence. We're
Right.
talking about what makes us human.
Right.
And what might make AI tick, too.
And what's really cool is that these aren't just abstract theories. They're woven into these personal reflections, almost like we're eavesdropping on someone wrestling with these big questions in real time.
Okay, let's unpack this. In an entry from January 14th, 2024,
Okay.
they compare popular stories to successful genes,
Right.
passing down through
Your
generations
cultural DNA.
and shaping how we see the world.
Yeah.
It's like how that chosen one narrative
Oh, yeah.
pops up everywhere from ancient myths to blockbuster movies.
That's a fantastic example. It speaks to how these stories, like successful genes, carry something essential for our understanding of ourselves and the world. They're almost like cultural DNA. And it connects to meme theory, the idea that ideas themselves spread and replicate like genes. The most compelling ones, like that chosen one trope, they just stick around.
So it's survival of the fittest, but for fairy tales and fireside stories. Which actually makes me think about that quote everyone loves to throw around online. You know the one,
Oh, absolutely. Which one are we thinking of?
everything intellectual is just language. Our
Yeah.
journal writer drops that bomb on March 8th. It's bold. Do you think they're onto something?
It really makes you question the relationship between language and thought. Like,
Mhm.
are they two sides of the same coin? Or is language just the tool we use to express our thoughts?
Right.
It even gets trickier when you bring AI into the mix,
Right.
especially with how these large language models, or LLMs,
Mhm.
are now generating human-quality text.
That's what's so wild about all of this. This was written months before those AI programs really blew up. They even speculate about them directly, questioning if a computer spitting out a Shakespearean sonnet means it actually understands those emotions, or if it's just a very convincing imitation.
Right.
Yeah.
And they point out that the line between genuine thought and a really good simulation gets blurry.
I can see that.
Take a poker player, for example. Are they masters of strategy, or did they just get lucky? The journal entry argues sometimes it's impossible to tell,
Wow.
especially with AI.
It's like that classic sci-fi question, can a machine ever truly understand what it's creating, or is it just mimicking the data it was fed?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
They go on to describe this scenario
Mm-hmm.
where an LLM writes a speech
Okay.
so moving, so perfectly crafted
Right.
that it ignites a movement.
Right.
And people are like, wow, this is incredible.
And they're really pushing us to consider if the origin of the message, the who or what behind it, ultimately matters.
It's wild.
If the impact is real, if it sparks change, does it matter if a conscious mind crafted it or not?
It's almost like they're saying the potential of language might go beyond what we traditionally consider conscious thought.
Yeah.
Which, okay, that's a lot to unpack. But there's this other part that stood out to me.
Okay.
They argue that even if the AI isn't conscious, the humans interacting with it definitely are. We bring our own experiences, our interpretations to the table.
It becomes a feedback loop, doesn't it? We react to the AI's output, and those reactions shape the next layer of information. We're still active participants in this exchange of ideas, even if we're not the ones writing the sonnet, so to speak.
It's like a collaborative dance between human creativity and this vast AI knowledge base.
I like that analogy.
We're leading, they're following, but maybe they're also teaching us new steps along the way.
And this brings us back to the heart of what we've been exploring, the power of language itself. Whether it's flowing from a human mind or being assembled by an algorithm, the ability to craft a message that truly resonates, that has the power to influence, that's where things get really interesting.
It's not just about telling stories for entertainment anymore. It's about understanding that those stories, those carefully chosen words, they have the potential to change us.
Absolutely. The stories we tell ourselves about who we are, what we believe, what's possible, those narratives shape our reality, and the language we use to build those narratives. That's where the real power lies.
So if language is this potent force, this tool that can influence our thoughts, our beliefs, even our actions, it kind of makes you wonder about the responsibility that comes with it, right?
Yeah.
What does it mean for us as individuals when it comes to the words we choose and the stories we tell?
That's a question the journal writer grapples with directly in an entry from April 4th. and it's one we should all be asking ourselves.
It really makes you think twice about that old saying.
What?
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Yeah.
Because clearly words have power.
They do.
Maybe not to physically injure,
Right.
but to influence, to inspire, to potentially change the course of events.
And this isn't just about politicians giving grand speeches.
Right.
Or writers crafting the next bestseller.
Yeah.
It's about the everyday conversations we have, the stories we share with friends and family,
Right.
even the jokes we repeat.
Yeah.
Those seemingly small acts of communication.
Yeah.
They all contribute to the larger narrative we're constantly building, both for ourselves and for those around us.
Thinking back to our journal writer,
Okay.
on April 4th, they write, "What if every word we utter is a chance encounter waiting to happen, a potential spark for new ideas?"
Wow, a fascinating thought. They go on to describe language as the invisible architecture of human connection,
Wow.
constantly being built upon, reshaped, and influencing everything from our individual beliefs to global movements.
And if that's the case, then we're all architects in a way.
Yeah.
We might not all be building skyscrapers,
Right.
but we're all contributing to this ever-evolving structure of communication and shared understanding.
Absolutely.
It's pretty remarkable.
And just like an architect needs to be mindful of their materials and methods, so too should we consider the impact of our words.
I like
Are we building bridges or walls? Are we reinforcing outdated structures or daring to imagine something entirely new?
It's a lot of responsibility, but also kind of amazing when you think about it. We have so much more agency than we often realize.
Yeah.
So to wrap up our deep dive into these thought-provoking journal entries,
Okay.
what would you say is the most important thing for our listener to take away from all of this?
I think it's the understanding that our words matter,
Yeah.
not just in some abstract philosophical sense, but in a very real, tangible way.
Right.
They have the power to shape our thoughts, our beliefs, and even our actions. And that realization comes with a responsibility to use that power thoughtfully, ethically, and with an awareness of the impact we're having on the world around us.
Beautifully said. It's like that quiet moment after a truly engaging conversation. You come up for air with this fresh perspective, a sense of wonder, and maybe even a few new questions to ponder. And speaking of questions, here's one for you to chew on as you go about your day. If, as our journal writer suggests, our words have the power to spark entirely new chains of thought in others, what does that say about the untapped potential of human connection itself? It's something to think about. Until next time, keep exploring those intriguing ideas, keep the conversations flowing, and remember, your words have power, so use them wisely.